Hey everyone, welcome to TA Coffee Talks. I am Troy. Today, let's dive into one of the most mysterious places on Earth, Antarctica. Let me start by asking you a question. Which do you think is harder? Migrating to Mars or migrating to Antarctica? You might assume that Mars is harder to explore since it's in outer space, right? But here's the surprising fact. Humans actually know far less about Antarctica than Mars. On Mars, we've already sent multiple probes, gathered extensive data, and even have plans to send humans there within the next 10 years. Meanwhile, in Antarctica, despite it being right here on Earth, our understanding of it remains extremely limited, especially when it comes to deep ice layers, subglacial lakes, extreme ecosystems, and geological structures. Scientists estimate that our knowledge of Antarctica is less than 20%, even less than what we know about the Moon, Mars, or some regions of the universe. So today, let's embark on an adventure to explore Antarctica. The discovery of Antarctica was nothing short of magical. The widely accepted narrative is that in 1820, 3 expedition teams, Russian, British, and American, almost simultaneously laid eyes on this frozen continent. It was as if humanity had set foot in this icy realm for the first time, marking the official discovery of Antarctica. But things might not be that simple. In fact, back in 1772, British explorer James Cook led a fleet around the Antarctic Circle. He couldn't land because a massive wall of ice blocked his way, making passage impossible. However, he left behind a chilling note in his journal. If there truly is a continent here, then it must be the most terrifying place on Earth. Cook's words were not an exaggeration. Over the years, one expedition after another encountered extreme horrors in Antarctica. In 1819, Russian explorer Fabian Gottlieb von Bellingshausen was the first to record the existence of Antarctica, but was unable to explore further. In 1911, the infamous race to the South Pole between Roald Amundsen and Robert Falcon Scott. Amundsen won, but Scott's entire expedition perished in the cold, leaving behind heartbreaking diary entries of their final moments. The Endurance expedition, led by Ernest Shackleton in 1914, saw their ship completely frozen in the Antarctic ice. The crew was stranded at sea for months, barely escaping death. But according to some mystery researchers, the story doesn't end there. They believe that before humanity officially discovered Antarctica, someone already knew about it and even mapped it out in detail. This brings us to one of the most enigmatic maps in history, the Piri Reis map. In 1513, an Ottoman admiral, Piri Reis, a genius cartographer, created a world map that baffled historians. What's truly mind-blowing is that the coastlines of Africa and South America on this map almost perfectly match modern satellite images. But the most astonishing part? The map includes Antarctica. And here's the kicker. Antarctica is drawn without its ice cover, with clear coastlines, as if someone had already visited it and conducted on-site measurements. And today, the continent is buried under thick layers of ice, making its actual coastline invisible to the human eye. So, how did Piri Reis map it out? Piri Reis himself admitted that the map wasn't his original work. He had compiled it from older maps, some allegedly dating back to ancient Greece, or even earlier civilizations. Even more bizarre, modern scientists analyzing the map found stunning details. Some mountain ranges depicted on the map match the subglacial terrain of Antarctica exactly. Could it be that in ancient times, Antarctica wasn't frozen? Could it be that a lost civilization had explored Antarctica thousands of years ago and mapped it out in extraordinary detail? This map, like a time capsule, might be hiding a historical secret that we have yet to unravel. What do you think? Could there have been an ancient, mysterious civilization that understood Antarctica long before we did? Antarctica, this frozen continent, is not only the coldest place on Earth, but also the windiest and driest region on the planet. Its extreme environment makes human exploration even more challenging than migrating to Mars. How cold is Antarctica? If you think minus 10 degrees Celsius in winter is unbearable, Antarctica's temperatures might make you question reality. In 2010, scientists using satellite measurements recorded the lowest temperature ever on Earth, a mind-blowing minus 93.2 degrees Celsius. At this temperature, a soda bottle would shatter instantly, exposed skin would freeze within seconds, and almost no life could survive. Even more surprising, some parts of Mars are actually warmer than Antarctica. On Mars, daytime temperatures can range from 20 degrees Celsius to 0 degrees Celsius, making it more habitable in some ways than Earth's coldest continent. So, why is Antarctica so cold? The extreme temperature is due to several factors. 1. Sunlight angle. Antarctica sits at the southernmost point of the planet, where the sun's rays hit at a very shallow angle. Most of the sunlight is reflected back into space, preventing the surface from warming up. 2. Thin atmosphere. The air above Antarctica is extremely thin and dry, meaning it doesn't retain heat. Even during the day, warmth quickly dissipates at night. 3. Albedo effect. Over 80% of sunlight is reflected by Antarctica's thick ice layers, preventing heat absorption and keeping temperatures extremely low. 4. High elevation. Antarctica is the highest continent on Earth, with an average elevation of over 2,000 meters. Higher altitudes mean thinner air and lower temperatures. How powerful are Antarctic winds? Can you imagine being blown away by the wind? In Antarctica, this is not an exaggeration. It's a real possibility. The strongest wind speed ever recorded, there was a terrifying 320 km/h, stronger than a Category 5 hurricane. In such conditions, even experienced explorers struggle to stay on their feet. Exposed skin freezes instantly. Tents and equipment can be ripped apart. People have been lifted off the ground and thrown by the wind. This extreme wind is caused by a unique phenomenon called katabatic winds. Here's how it works. Antarctica's high plateaus are extremely cold, causing dense, heavy air to sink rapidly toward lower areas. This falling air accelerates like an avalanche, creating incredibly strong winds. Unlike other parts of the world, Antarctica has no natural barriers, like mountains, forests, or cities, to slow the wind down, making storms even more violent. This combination makes Antarctic winds some of the most powerful on Earth. When people think of Antarctica, they imagine a land covered in thick snow and ice. But here's a surprising fact. Some parts of Antarctica are drier than the Sahara Desert. In certain regions of Antarctica, annual precipitation is less than 50 millimeters, drier than the Sahara, which is 100 millimeters per year. Most water exists as ice, meaning it doesn't rain or snow in these areas. Some places have only 5% humidity, making them among the driest places on Earth. Because of this extreme dryness, bodies in Antarctica can remain preserved for thousands of years. Frozen penguin corpses, animal bones, and even ancient mummies have been found perfectly intact, as if frozen in time. Antarctica's unique day and night cycle. In Antarctica, time works differently. From October to March, summer, the sun never sets. It stays visible 24 hours a day for 6 months. From April to September, winter, the sun never rises. Antarctica is plunged into total darkness for another 6 months. So in Antarctica, one day can last an entire year. This phenomenon occurs because Earth's axis is tilted. As the planet orbits the sun, for half the year, Antarctica tilts toward the sun, experiencing constant daylight. For the other half, it tilts away, causing complete darkness. Believe it or not, Antarctica was once a lush green jungle. In 2009, NASA scientists discovered 100-million-year-old plant fossils buried deep in Antarctic ice, giant ferns, conifers, and ancient trees, proving that the continent was once full of life. In 2017, German scientists found 90-million-year-old rainforest remains under the ice, pollen, roots, and charcoal fragments, revealing that Antarctica's climate was once like modern Southeast Asia. So how did Antarctica transform from a tropical paradise into a frozen wasteland? In 1966, historian Charles Hapgood proposed a shocking theory. The Earth's crust suddenly shifted about 12,000 years ago, pushing Antarctica into the polar zone, causing it to freeze over rapidly. Even Albert Einstein found this theory fascinating. In the foreword of Hapgood's book, Einstein wrote, "The theory of Earth's crustal displacement is reasonable. The Earth's outer shell may shift relative to the mantle." Could it be that Antarctica was once home to an ancient civilization? Could something be hidden beneath its thick ice sheets, waiting to be discovered? The frozen continent might hold secrets that could change our understanding of history forever. Antarctica, a mysterious land covered in ice, has long been considered the most desolate and uninhabitable place on Earth. However, in 2016, a satellite image taken by NASA sent shockwaves through the scientific community and conspiracy theorists alike. A perfectly shaped four-sided pyramid was spotted rising from the Antarctic ice. How could there be a pyramid in Antarctica? That's the million-dollar question. This pyramid-like peak is located in the Ellsworth Mountains of Antarctica. Satellite images show four symmetrical triangular faces forming a near-perfect pyramid structure standing alone in the vast icy wilderness. Why is this discovery so shocking? Scientists generally agree that natural geological processes can sometimes create pyramid-like mountains, known as pyramidal peaks. One famous example is the Matterhorn in the Swiss Alps. However, here's the problem. Natural peaks are never perfectly symmetrical. The Matterhorn, for example, may appear pyramid-like from certain angles, but its edges are irregular, and its four faces vary in size and shape. Yet the Antarctic pyramid is strikingly symmetrical from multiple angles. Some researchers have even calculated that the slopes of its four triangular faces have nearly identical angles, with negligible margin for error. This level of precision is almost unheard of in natural formations. If this pyramid is indeed natural, then the odds of such perfect symmetry occurring by chance are astronomically low, about 1 in 10 billion. That's roughly the same as randomly bumping into an alien on the street today. A structure this precise appearing naturally would be nothing short of a geological miracle. Even more puzzling, some researchers claim that the pyramid's four faces are aligned with the cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west. Now, if this was just an ordinary mountain, its orientation should be random, shaped by tectonic forces and weathering. But much like the Great Pyramid of Giza, this Antarctic structure appears to be purposefully aligned, as if it were designed by an intelligent mind. Of course, this claim is still debated, and official scientific teams have yet to confirm precise alignment measurements. But if proven true, it would suggest that the Antarctic pyramid is not a natural peak, but an ancient man-made structure. And here's another mind-blowing fact. The Great Pyramid of Giza originally stood at 146.6 meters, an architectural marvel. Some reports claim that the Antarctic pyramid could be over 400 meters tall, or even larger. If this pyramid was indeed built by an ancient civilization, then it would be the largest pyramid-like structure ever discovered on Earth. Beneath Antarctica's thick ice sheets lies more than just ancient mountains. Hidden deep under the frozen wasteland is a mysterious lake sealed off for 15 million years, Lake Vostok. This subglacial lake, trapped under nearly 4,000 meters of ice, remains in liquid form with stable temperatures between 0 to 3 degrees Celsius thanks to geothermal heating. It's like a natural time capsule, preserving secrets from an ancient world. The name comes from the Vostok Station, an Antarctic research base established by the Soviet Union in 1957. This station became one of the coldest and most isolated places on Earth. The lake beneath it, now one of the most mysterious water bodies in the world, was later named Lake Vostok. But how was it discovered? In the 1950s, a Soviet pilot, Andrei Kapitsa, stumbled upon a hidden secret beneath the ice. During an aerial survey, he noticed that a massive section of Antarctica's ice sheet was unusually flat, as if it had been ironed smooth compared to the rugged terrain around it. Suspicious, he theorized that something massive lay beneath. Years later, using seismic wave technology, Soviet scientists finally confirmed his suspicion, An enormous lake was hidden under the ice, measuring 250 kilometer long, 50 kilometer wide, roughly the size of 17 Singapore islands. But the strangest part? Aircraft flying over the lake reported compass malfunctions, as if something beneath was disrupting Earth's magnetic field. Some scientists theorized that iron deposits in the region could be causing the magnetic anomaly. Others, however, speculated that something unnatural, possibly even an ancient alien artifact or spacecraft, could be buried beneath the ice. This shocking discovery turned Lake Vostok into a scientific obsession, leading to a 20-year drilling mission to uncover its secrets. By the 1990s, Russian scientists began the ambitious mission to drill through the Antarctic ice sheet and extract water samples from Lake Vostok. But this was no ordinary drilling operation. What does 4,000 meters of ice mean? That's almost half the height of Mount Everest. Drilling through it in the brutal Antarctic cold was a nightmare challenge. To keep the drill hole from freezing shut, researchers had to inject kerosene and freon to lower the ice's freezing point. This project took 20 years. By 1996, they had drilled 3,623 meters, leaving only a few meters to go. But they halted, fearing that modern contaminants could pollute the ancient lake. In 2010, with better technology, drilling resumed. On February 5, 2012, after reaching 3,669 meters, the drill finally pierced through to the lake's surface. For the first time in history, humans touched water that had been sealed for 15 million years. This water was unlike anything on Earth, cleaner than any natural water known to humanity. Oxygen levels, 50 times higher than normal lake water. Scientists believed it could contain unknown organisms capable of surviving extreme conditions. But on the same day drilling succeeded, something bizarre happened. On February 5, 2012, at Vostok Station, Antarctica, the team's drill finally breached the ice, reaching the untouched lake water. Scientists eagerly waited to collect the first-ever samples. Then, all communication was lost. The base's radio signals went silent. The GPS trackers stopped transmitting. The scientists completely vanished from all contact. For 5 days, no one heard a word from them. In Antarctica, even losing contact for a few minutes can mean life or death. But 5 days? It was unheard of. Even more bizarre, satellite data showed that weather conditions were completely calm during those days. No blizzards, no storms, nothing that could explain the loss of communication. So what really happened to them? On February 10, 2012, suddenly radio signals returned. A distress call from the missing team was received. They were quickly evacuated, physically unharmed, with no signs of frostbite or dehydration. But something was wrong. Their eyes had changed. A deep, unsettling look, as if they had seen something unimaginable. They became eerily silent. They refused to speak about the 5 missing days. They gave scripted, emotionless answers to reporters. Someone whispered, "They look like themselves, but something is different." A Russian journalist managed to approach one of the scientists, catching him alone outside the base. The researcher looked pale, shaking, lost in thought. When asked what happened during those 5 days, his lips trembled. Then he whispered, "We saw something that doesn't belong to this world." That was all he would say. The Russian government immediately classified all data. No photos of the lake water were ever released. No details about the scientists' health were disclosed. No official explanation was given. Did they discover a new form of life? Did something rise from the depths of the lake? Was an ancient alien relic hidden beneath the ice? The truth about Lake Vostok remains one of the most tightly guarded Antarctic secrets, one that may never be fully revealed. So, what do you think? Isn't Antarctica even more mysterious than you imagined? Today, we explored the extreme environment of Antarctica from a scientific perspective and took a glimpse into the enigmatic mysteries buried beneath the ice. Whether it's the possibility of unknown life in subglacial lakes or the pyramid-like formations standing against the frozen winds, Antarctica continues to fuel our imagination. But in the face of these unknowns, how should we approach them? Science demands evidence, but exploration thrives on curiosity. The greatest discoveries often emerge at the intersection of imagination and the relentless pursuit of truth. We must maintain a sense of wonder toward the unknown while using rational thinking to uncover reality. Perhaps Antarctica's secrets are far from fully revealed, and maybe, someday in the future, we'll uncover even more astonishing answers.